Welcome back everyone, I'm Tier 1 Collections. In today's video, I'm going to be talking exactly how I make $5,000 a month grading and selling Pokemon cards, and we're going to deep dive into the math behind that and the strategy will be explained. Make sure you join the Discord down below if you're thinking about doing the same thing. I hope you enjoy. Alright, when we're talking about the grading strategy, and this is what I do, we have to talk about bankroll management, okay? So what bankroll is, in this specific example, I'm only taking into account what you're going to spend on cards. Now you can kind of tweak this based on your budget or your bankroll, that's fine. What I'm not doing in this example is taking into account the grading fee from PSA, okay? So specifically in this example, we'll start at the top. We have a $2,500 bankroll. What I am denoting here on this spreadsheet is what percentage of what you have should be allocated towards what type of cards. Now, specifically, if the lower bankroll you have, you don't want to go with bulk. You want to go towards the mid tier, okay? And then as you get higher, you can kind of spread it out, okay? So specifically, if you have a $2,500 bankroll, you want to stay around probably no more than 10% of your bankroll. 10 to 15 is okay. You can kind of play with it. 5% really either way. But you want to get, cheap $5, $10 cards here for your bulk play. And then in your mid-tier play, you want to do 60% of your total bankroll. The reason for this is that when you're just starting out and you want to build a bigger bankroll, you want to continue to reinvest that and roll that in. Typically I like to say that you can predict what the money that you'll make off of a submission is generally. This is very, very general, and this is just a planning consideration, but it's about double of what you spent on the cards, right? Barring any market changes, obviously that'll throw a wrench in those things. But specifically, if you were to do this and you sent 3 submissions with the prices that I have listed here out of your $2,500, you should make in profit another $2,500. So your total bankroll will then be $5,000. So as your bankroll increases, you'll start to reach a sweet spot. I think the sweet spot is around 10 to 15K. And again, this is not all in one full swoop. You don't need to go drop 15K cash on the card shop's counter. That's not the way that this works. This is generally like a monthly-ish budget. Again, with PSA's return times and the way that cards come back to you, you can't always predict that it's like on January 1st, I'm going to get this payment. And then February 1st, I'm going to go buy more cards. Like whatever. It doesn't work like that. It's going to roll in at slow times. If you can go, if you live in a populated area with a lot of card shops and you can spend that, then great. But this is the general guideline. So we'll go for 10K as an example. You want to start allocating more towards your bulk as your bankroll increases, right? So getting the bulk to increase is important because it's way less to pay for the submission charges. And typically, if you can get these bigger spends on, say you buy $3,000 cards of your 35% on your 10K on like express type cards, $3,000 cards. They come back, maybe they're 2010, so that's $6,000 right there that you can already pay yourself back. Okay, and again, the likelihood of you finding, 3 Sunbreons that are in perfect condition is really hard to do, but you want to maintain that part of your budget so when you do come across those, when you're hunting in the wild, you can pick those up. Because those are huge money makers and you can turn those over super, super quick. It doesn't feel like on your bulk play, if you went and spent $10,000 on just bulk and your bankroll was $10,000, you're going to be waiting 4 or 5 months for that to come back, potentially. Not all the time, but sometimes it can take a really long time. So you want to be able to pay yourself back and take advantage of that. So that's why I say you want to favor these top tier cards and then kind of just tuck the bulk stuff away. Like if a card's clean, it's clean. It doesn't matter if it's $10 or 100 or 1,000, right? Obviously we favor the higher end ones because they make us more money, but again, we're spending more money. The important part is that as you continue to increase, and then you can look down here at the $20,000 bankroll, I'm spending $5,000 on bulk. I'm picking up, $20, $30 cards like Pikachu from Crown Zenith, some small stuff like that. Then I'm just throwing in submissions here and there. And then as soon as I build up a bulk submission, the next one I send off with an express or a regular order, it's getting tucked in there, and I'm just keep them flowing. So then I go on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, twice a week sometimes, depending on the week, if I'm busy or not. I'll go and purchase all those things and then send it all at once, So I typically send a package about once a week to PSA. one part that I kind of missed here is when you get these quick turnarounds from the express, the regulars and stuff like that, you get to pay yourself back. Not only like you spent the 10,000 and you make the 6,000 back. It's more so you get that 6,000 back that you can now reinvest. And then when you get these bulk submissions back, you know, if you're sending every week or bi-weekly or even if it's just once a month, once you get those, then it's a really, really big payday all at once, right? And then that helps you increase your bankroll. So it's a long-term game. It's not, you know, one short burst all at once. So you have to play the long term. All right, here's an example of how you can be successful grading cards en masse. I'm using Butthole Pikachu, the Pikachu SIR from Surging Sparks. Okay, so here is price paid. I have at 260. On TCG Player, it's at 255-ish. And then I have the PSA 9 is 275. We can look here. It's all over the place. There's some at 320. I think it's fair to put it there in the middle. And then the PSA 10 price, I have at 850. We have sales all around 8 to 9. So I just stuck it right in the middle there for planning purposes. Again, this is not exact science. Prices change, things change. But my point is to show you how this works. So if, again, this is a hypothetical example that there's not many people doing this unless you absolutely love this card. To find 10 clean copies would be really hard. But we're going to go with it that you buy 10 SIR Pikachus from Surging Sparks for $260 each, okay? And then you send them value max. So that's $59.99 for the grading fee, and it's about $15 on top of that for the insured shipping back to you. So that's about what it'll be per card. Okay, here's a spreadsheet denoting exactly what it would look like if you bought 10 SIR Pikachus, and then depending how many PSA 10s you get out of the 10 you send, what that looks like played out, okay? So on this first example over here, we have a 10% PSA 10 rate, meaning that you get 1 out of 10 PSA 10s. I know I'm saying 10 a lot, but so you get that 110, sell it for $850, and then you have 9 9s that you sell for $275. Again, we already calculated the money total spent was $3,350 for the 10 raw cards at $260 a piece, and then the 75 per, 60 per plus the insured shipping, right? That brings us to 3,350, okay? So if you only get one singular 10, you would lose $690. This is also calculating the fees if you sold it at 80%, okay? So then we play that along, we go to 20%. So you get 2 out of 10 PSA 10s, right? So you have your 2 for $850, and then you have your 8 for $275. That brings your total up here, $3,900. That's $650 more than what you spent, or sorry, $550 more than what you spent, but you still have to calculate fees, right? So at 80%. Now, if you were to sell this in Discord to me at 85%, you would basically break even at 2, okay? So for the planning purposes, we'll just call that breaking even at 85%. You can pretty much find places to sell stuff at 85%. Now, you move on to a 30% gem rate. You hit 3 of 10, which is not that hard to do for somebody who has some experience. Again, this is not just necessarily gambling. Now, we all take chances on grading cards, but this is a skill you can absolutely develop, and it's not hard to get 3 of 10. Again, it's hard to find 10 copies of the same card, but again, I'm just trying to, this is a proof of concept here. So, if you get 3 10s, you're already making money, and that's at 80%. Let's go ahead and just say 85% because that's pretty fair. That's $450 profit. Now, you move up to 50%. Let's say you hit at 50%. This is at 87. We'll put it at 85. You're making $1,400 profit. That's full profit. Your total is back here. This is what $4,781 is what you're going to make if you sold all 10 of these cards for the prices listed here at an 85% fee. Now, if you become a YouTube member, you can sell them for 87 to me and then make $1,500. That's also an option. Join the Discord down below. And then here, just for the proof of concept, we will do 85%. If you somehow miraculously got 10 out of 10 PSA 10s on your 10 Surging Sparks Pikachu, you would make close to $4,000 with, I mean, you're more than doubling that in profit. That's an insane thing, and that's not going to happen. The gem rate is not that good on this card, but again, it's a proof of concept. Okay, Pikachu from Surging Sparks isn't even the best example. I'm just going to play out the Bubble Mew scenario for you really quickly. Price paid's $500, near mint $480-ish. I rounded up, so I'm given a little bit of leeway there. Grading fee is now regular instead of value max, so it's $75 per card plus the insurance on top. Everybody forgets about that. I'm adding it there. PSA 10 price is about $16.50. There's one that sold for $18 today. one yesterday for 15. There's one at 16. So I'm just putting it smack dab in the middle. PSA 9 at 475. There's sales 425, 495. I'm just putting it generally in there. We could even put it at 450. But for this example, I already filled it out at 475. Okay, so now we play that out. You have 10 Bubble Mews. You only get one singular PSA 10. That means you lose $1,210 at 80%. Now, if you go to 2, you get 2 PSA 10 Bubble Mews out of the full 10 set that you send. Now, you walk away with minus 270 at 80%. Now, if you join my Discord and sell them, you actually make $85. So you're more than breaking even on just getting 2 10s. Now, play that out for 3 10s. You make $1,000 if you get 3. Again, not hard to do. This is 5 10s. You make $3,293. And then, obviously this is a fairy tale, but you would make $8,000 if you got all 10 PSA 10 Bubble Mews. I see the comments now, and you guys are probably disgruntled or whatever, but the thing you have to understand is the point of this entire video is you're not risking the actual full amount that you spend on a group of cards. You get the 9 price back. So, essentially, you're actually risking the grading fee. The point that I'm trying to hammer home is that you do get the 9s back and are able to sell them. So, in this specific case, you're spending 95 by 10. Well, I don't know why I have to do that math. It's just 950. So you're more or less gambling the grading fee that you're going to hit at a better, in the Bubble Mew scenario, better than 2 out of 10. And for your troubles, you're making $1,000 if you get 3. Okay? So the whole point of this whole video is to hammer home the math on when you do this and you play this out long term. Now, again, you're not going to get 10 of the same cards all the time, but you are just gambling that grading fee that you're betting your skill of deciding whether that card is a PSA 10 or not over the fact, lay that over 100 cards and you're going to hit at sometimes 60%. And not all of them are going to have an insane payout like Bubble Mew or even more than double like Surging Sparks Pikachu. But some of those other cards might be a $20 card that it's a lower pop and you sell for $150. So when you play that out long term, that's what it looks like. The point that I want you to walk away with is that you are gambling the grading fee when you're doing this strategy. At no point are you, if you spend $5,000 on cards, are you ever going to lose all 5,000 of that? You know what I mean? You're going to walk away with those 9s and those 8s if you're unlucky and be able to sell those and make a good chunk of that money back. A lot of people don't take that into account. They only think about the 10s when they're calculating that, but the 9s make up for so much of that profit lost. Obviously, we want to stay away from 9s as much as we can, but you definitely need to calculate it when you're doing the math for the whole submission. That's it. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you need to yell at me, please do it in the comments down below, or you can join the Discord and also yell at me. If you do want access to this spreadsheet, I'll post it in the Discord for anybody who wants to use it for their own purposes for whatever reason. It did take me a little bit to make, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch y'all in the next one.